Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to be doing a video discussing how to begin working with Santa Muerte. Now, if you're new to this channel, hi, how are you? I hope you're doing well. And if you're a returning subscriber, also, how are you doing? Now today I want to begin with going over a lot of the basics about, Most Holy Death, and I will go over a lot of things that are basic information for you to know if you are considering working with her or if you have a want or a need to work with her. So I will first begin by discussing who she is. Now, Santa Muerte is a Hispanic folk saint. She is mostly venerated in South America, especially Mexico, but at this point she is being prayed to and worshipped all throughout the world. Now, she has connections with the Aztecs and the Aztec underworld, but she may potentially be a lot more ancient than that. She predates most saints and other kinds of beings of that nature. She is a folk saint, which means she is not officially recognized or canonized by the church. However, she is a saint of the people, and that is how she has her following. She isn't the only folk saint, but she is one of the most predominant ones. Santa Muerte is a female death deity. She takes on the image of a Grim Reaper, and she may or may not be depicted with skin, with wings, riding on horseback, sitting in a throne. There are many ways she's depicted, but generally the general consensus is that she is a Grim Reaper wielding a scythe. Now, unlike a lot of other saints, gods, and goddesses, she has many specialties, and I think that's one of the things that gives her so much crossover appeal to a variety of people. Some saints, they might have only one specialty, which is to heal a toothache or to heal broken bones or to help someone find love. Santa Muerte is petitioned and prayed to for everything from money, love, physical health, safety, physical protection, legal problems, and for career and work. However, she's also petitioned for things like contacting the dead and the dearly departed, undoing black magic, protection from negative magic, elevating your spiritual and psychic abilities, for inner healing, etc. She's good for cleansing areas, cleansing people. She really is just a very well-rounded being. And for this reason, she is very well liked and very well received by most people. Her connection is one that lasts always. She is an eternal being. She is a being who has connections with the dead and with death, obviously. She is considered to be an aspect of death itself, and it is said that she was given her powers by God. So she will be with us all at the end of our lives, whether we work with her or not. When you work with a lot of saints and beings and you reach out to them, sometimes you can just give them a small offering in exchange for something, and you may or may not get that result. And it's more of a sort of a transactional type of thing. With Santa Muerte, it's not exactly transactional. She usually is a very, how can I word this? She likes to keep a relationship going if you work with her. She doesn't really strike me as the kind of being who just wants you to just work with her for one little thing and then just kind of you two part ways and go off on your own paths. She seems very much like the type of being who likes to have, a relationship with those who work with her. And she's known to be very protective and loyal and caring for those who work with her. And she's known to turn away from those who show her disrespect or from those who only seek a transactional type of relationship with her, who only seek to use her just to get what they want, and they don't really care about her or making that genuine connection. So to begin working with her, you don't need to have a lot of money for altars or statues or anything. All you really need is the willingness to connect to her. You don't need anything. You have to sit down and pray and be very genuine about it and pray from your heart and let that willingness and that want to connect with her overwhelm you. Just let it envelop you. Just focus on the image of her in your mind while you pray to her with all your heart, and she will hear you. You don't need anything. You don't need any physical objects to make a connection with her. Now, if you do have a little bit of money, then obviously you're going to want to use certain types of images for when you connect with her. Now, this isn't how to make an altar, but this is more just how you set up your little setup when you first make a connection. So you would basically want to have an image of her. It can be a statue. It doesn't matter the size. It can be the size of a person, or it can be the size of your pinky finger. It doesn't really matter. Or if you don't have a statue, you can use an image of her. You can pull up an image of her on your phone. You can have one of those small prayer cards. You can draw a little picture of her. It doesn't really matter. You could even simply write her name on a slip of paper while focusing on making the connection to her. And usually when you have the image of her, you'll put a glass of water on the side. This facilitates the spirit communication, and it also helps for you to make that initial connection, as well as serve as an offering to her. Usually people also have a candle. It doesn't matter too much what type of candle, but if you are using one of those like Hispanic prayer candles, then obviously you're not going to want to use a candle that depicts a different saint other than Santa Muerte. Now, other than that, all you have to do really is just pray to her. Just speak to her. Write out, if you want to beforehand, what it is you want to ask for exactly. You should have a reason for wanting to connect with her. Whether it's you simply want to make a connection to her because you feel like you would like to develop a relationship with her, or maybe you're going through something financially or emotionally. Maybe you're afraid for your safety. It could be anything. But just know what it is you want when you go and try to make that initial connection with her. You're going to want to just pray to her. Just be transparent, be genuine, speak candidly, be very frank. Just speak your mind. Like, don't try to sugarcoat what you're saying. Don't try to make it sound like one thing when you know it's for something else. She will respect you being honest, and it'll make her want to work with you because, she's a very powerful being. She knows what we are thinking about. She knows what we're feeling. You can't lie to her. Just be upfront and genuine with her, whatever it is you want. Now, it's okay if you are not Hispanic and you want to work with her. This is a big thing in the community. I noticed a few people in different times that try to act as gatekeepers to being able to work with Santisima Muerte. That is a big issue with me that I have with people. I've seen and heard of people being turned away from being able to purchase statues of her at metaphysical stores and botanicas simply because of the color of their skin. White people being turned away, black people being turned away. Santisima isn't racist. She doesn't care the color of the skin. It makes no difference to her. Everyone dies the same. Everyone is the same in her eyes. Whether you're black or white, Hispanic, Asian, Middle Eastern, Mexican, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter your ethnicity or your heritage or your race. She is happy to have you if you are willing to respect her and work with her. We all are going to die. She will see us all one day. We are all equal because we all have an inevitable death, an inevitable passing into the next area of our existence. And we all have a skeleton beneath our skin all the same, regardless of our gender or our heritage or our ethnicity or our cultural background. So if anyone has ever told you that you can't work with her for any reason like that, they're totally wrong, and they're speaking from a place of ego, and they're projecting their own personal hang-ups relating to race or relating to wanting to be controlling of who works with her and who doesn't. They're projecting that onto you, or onto her, I'm sorry. So don't listen to people when they speak like that, because they just sometimes have their own things that they're going through. I'm not speaking ill on those people, but I'm just saying that just don't listen to that if you hear it, because that's not my experience with Santisima Muerte. She is a very special person, a very special being to work with. Now, when you pray to her, you may sense something in the room. You may feel a shift in the temperature in the room. You might feel a little bit warmer. You might feel a cold chill. Something might knock over, or you might not sense anything at all. You might get a feeling that somebody's watching you, or that you aren't alone. Maybe a bird will fly up to your window. Like, it could be anything. One of the amazing things about working with Santa Muerte is that she loves giving people signs. That's like her big thing. Like, she's really big on that. Like, if you pray to her and you go about your life, like, you might start seeing images of her everywhere. You'll be in the grocery store, and in the grocery line, and somebody will turn around and they'll have a Grim Reaper on the front of their sweater. Or you'll be driving down the street stuck in traffic, and you'll notice the car in front of you has a vinyl decal of a Grim Reaper, like, on the back of the car. Like, you will see stuff like this, like, and it'll happen too often, or it'll be too strange to even be a coincidence. And these kinds of special synchronicities are pretty much to be expected, honestly. Like, I don't want to say that anything is set in stone, but she seems to really love giving her people who work with her these signs, and it's a really neat thing. If you don't always see signs, you may also have dreams about her. Some people have dreams that she speaks to them. She'll be there with them in the dreams. Other people, myself included, have dreams where I usually only see images of her. Like, I will be dreaming something, but I will see a statue of her in the dream. And this is normal. She's good for wanting to work with us in our dreams and for dream work. You might even see her. You might start daydreaming and have daydreams about her. There's a lot of times that she will make herself and her presence in your life very apparent to you. And it always feels very special when she does that. Now, if you do decide to make an altar to her, then obviously you're going to want more things than just a glass of water and a candle. One thing that she's really big on is incense, of course. So whenever you pray to her, it's always really nice to light a stick of incense for her as an offering. She also really loves flowers, especially roses. But any kind of flowers will do. I have a personal altar, and I have roses on there most of the time. But every so often I will switch it up, and I will get other kinds of flowers. I've put lilies, like lilies, daisies, all kinds of things. She seems to love it all. But I think roses especially are her preferred flower offering. And as for incenses, I was told that copal incense, copal, because it was also used by some type of indigenous people whenever they used to venerate her. But it seems like people use just really any kind of incense. So really don't get too hung up on the extreme details. Just do it, whatever it is you would like to do. But like I said, if it's your first time working with her and you are erecting a small makeshift altar, then in addition to the water, the candles, you can put incense, flowers. She also really likes sweets, like candies. She's asked me for different things at different times, like chocolate, or I've given her Hispanic candies, even like food like meals, like a home-cooked meal, home-cooked cakes and cookies. Like, that stuff comes from the heart because you put your own work into it. You can write her poems. You can write her your own prayers. You can sing to her. You can sing to her whatever you would like to. If you're a musician, you can play music to her. You can draw artwork for her. You can draw images, for her. They're really, the sky's the limit. Just whatever kind of gift you want to present her with really will work if you are, beginning working with her. But that's something that usually comes a little bit later. So I think that's pretty much everything to begin with, But again, you can work with her if you want to. Don't let anyone try to tell you or convince you otherwise. Santa Muerte is a very understanding being. She is big on minorities and outcast groups, especially, additionally. So if you are lesbian, gay, the LGBT community, she's really big on them. If you're a sex worker, she is very protective, and she is totally non-judgmental. no matter who you are, what your walk of life is. That's why she is so loved by people in poverty, by people who struggle, by sex workers, by LGBTQ community. Like, she is just such a force of positivity and protection for these people especially. Now, I also want to say that, she's often associated with, the cartel, and I guess it is true. I guess some of them, they work with her. They come, I guess the cartel, they have origins in parts of Mexico where Santa Muerte is heavily venerated by everyone, by a lot of people. And a lot of times the news, the church, and the media, coverage kind of puts out this propaganda that heavily associates her with, the cartel. But really, she really is just a saint of the people. And don't really think of her like as a narco saint, as they like to say, because her and other saints like Jesus Malverde are heavily associated with the cartel, even though they have a lot of good things to offer to just everyday people. And another thing I want to say is that if you were thinking about working with her, but you thought to maybe not take the chance because you heard that she's like scary or dangerous or jealous, I just want to put that to rest. Santa Muerte, she has many sides to her, and she can be fierce when she's protecting those who are devoted to her. And she is very protective. And additionally, she isn't, to me, she's not scary at all. She's very loving. She's extremely maternal. She's like a grandmother or a mother or a godmother. Like, she is that person. Like, she's that one you turn to when you need that shoulder to cry on. That's kind of how I view her, and that's how I know a lot of people view her like that. They think of her very fondly, like an older family member, and it's a really special and heartfelt connection when it comes to people who work with her like that. Now, I imagine not everybody has that type of connection with her, but the majority of people have more of like a familial bond type of relationship going with her. So, and as for her being jealous, I think that the longer you work with her, the more prominent she will become in your life. And if you are somebody who practices like magic, then she will probably become even more of a prominent figure in your life. She may reach out to you in some way, shape, or form and have you add stuff to the altar. She will specifically ask, hey, can you put a lantern on my altar? Can you add scales? Hey, can I have more candles? Can I have this type of offering? She will ask for those kinds of things. That's perfectly normal. And before you know it, your altar will double in size. And, that's just to be expected. But usually it's usually best to have an altar devoted specifically to her, because she, like I said, she's a very, I don't want to say hands-on, but she makes herself very prominent in your life. And so she's constantly protecting you and saving you from things, even when you're not even aware of it. You might find out way down the line that she saved you many times and you had no idea. And, she's such a important part of a devotee's life when they start working with her. She helps them to heal and grow and to flourish. And so she sometimes will require you to have a devoted altar just for her. And when it's there, obviously you don't want to put images of other saints on the altar because it's for her, And so she may not like that if you do that. It's not necessarily that she's jealous. She just wants, you to respect her little space that you made for her. I've heard of people having an altar to her and altars to other beings in the same room. That seems to be okay, just not all on the same altar. Because a lot of people who work with her work with a lot of other beings. I mean, the whole spectrum of beings, and I mean literally the entire spectrum of beings a person could work with. Her devotees work with them in addition to working with her. And so I think it's just fine, really. The only things that people all seem to agree on for the most part about, having them on the same altar as Santa Muerte is usually images of the Virgin Mary or La Virgen de Guadalupe, or Saint Michael. So those are the two that people seem to have at least one image of them on a traditional Hispanic Santa Muerte altar. But, you know, really, you can kind of do whatever you want when it comes to this. At least in regards to whether you have altars in the same room or different rooms. I've heard of people who have very small living spaces. They might just have an efficiency, and they will have multiple saints, including Santa Muerte, on one altar. And she doesn't seem to mind that. Even though, you know, even though she's known for enjoying having her own area, her own designated altar, she seems to be very understanding of people, financial constraints, spatial constraints. Maybe you don't have that much space or enough money to buy different things. Like, she's aware of what's going on. She's not ignorant or blind. Like, she sees it all. She understands where you're coming from and where you're going through. So to me, she's extremely understanding. So don't be afraid and don't think she's jealous. And the only thing I will say, if you do work with her, is just come to her being genuine, come to her being respectful, and probably when you approach her, you should probably approach her using the typical way, which is a lot of Christian or Catholic prayers, like Our Fathers, Hail Marys, and usually that will segue into like the initial connection. Obviously, you don't have to do that, but I think it's something that she really likes and that she appreciates. I've heard of people working with her using like pagan type of, like, I guess almost like pagan prayers that involve like different elements. But I mean, I don't personally do that. So I mean, working with her, your relationship with her is very individualized. It's very personal. And not everyone's relationship with her is the same, nor is everyone's idea of her is the same. She may not present herself to two people in the same way. They may have two very different ideas about her. But generally, you know, everything I'm saying is very general information, and it's for the most part to be expected. So I'm going to go ahead and close this video. I am starting to get into the territory of discussing altars, which isn't what I intended to do. I just wanted to give a lot of information, just dispelling some of the myths about Santa Muerte, you know, because a lot of, you know, sources and people who don't work with her, they try to demonize her. They make her seem evil and wrathful, vindictive, super jealous and crazy and angry. And that's not her at all. So, oh, and I also want to say that when you begin working with her, if it doesn't matter the color that you choose to work with. And what I mean when I say that, if you are doing specific color working, that's a different conversation. But I just mean like the initial image of her to make that initial contact. Whatever image you can get of her will be fine to begin with. You know, it doesn't matter whether it's white, red, striped. It doesn't really matter. Just an image would be good if you can get a hold of one to begin with. The color doesn't matter too much, although most people across the board will say, go ahead and just get a white one. That's the one I started with, and that one seemed to work just fine. Although, again, I think any image will work because no matter what image you use, you're still connecting to her. So I think that's it. I think that was everything I intended to say in this video. I probably will make other videos relating to the details of some of the stuff I discussed here. I'm not sure. But I knew I wanted to discuss this stuff, and I felt very strongly about it because I was hearing a lot of misinformation being spread, and it made me feel some kind of way. So I knew I needed to make some kind of video discussing how to properly begin working with Most Holy Death, La Santisima Muerte. So I'm going to go ahead in this video. If you like this content, then please leave a like. I would really appreciate it. If you are into this kind of information, whether it be relating to Santa Muerte or relating to tarot decks or the occult, then consider subscribing to my channel because I post videos every once in a while. And with that being said, I'm going to end this video here. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.